But if you never had a role model, if you never had an example of what you could be, who would you even become? Who would you even know to become?
I hope y'all are doing all right today. My name is LaCoy Cooks. I'm the writer and creator of my comic book Fusion, as well as the founder of Contact Comics. This is my panel page breakdown series where I break down the panels per page to get an insider's look and understanding on the reasons why behind every panel. If this is your first time with us, we're going to start off by reading the page and then we'll go through each individual panel.
Now, there's something you need to understand about my world. My abilities, people who could do what I do, they didn't exist. No books, no social media clips of the unordinary, and no television. So when I got my powers, my first thought wasn't to be a superhero. It was supposed to be fun. Personal space.
Now back to LaCoy with the panel breakdown.
All right. Looking back, it feels like page one was Cindy kind of, showing us her past, catching us up to speed. But page two, this was her kind of talking about the present, or at least getting us up to the present, explaining how she got her powers. This third page right here, this is her explaining the world to us. People with abilities, people who could do what I do, they didn't exist. My universe started in middle school because I couldn't escape the fact that the world is supernatural. It's magical. It's very much possible. So when I seen something in real life that was kind of like, it looked like it was ripped out of sci-fi, I'm left daydreaming. Weeks, probably months, more likely months, on how it could be possible. We've seen the reactions in other media, Marvel, DC, and I'm gonna be honest, no hate to them because they built the foundation, you know what I mean? But it never landed for me. The reactions, there's this running gag in my head that, like, despite Superman flying laser beams out of his eyes, lifting skyscrapers, there's still a crook in Gotham that's like, Batman's not real. What are y'all talking? He's a myth. Hey, I have 5 busted ribs. My pinky's missing. My eyes swollen shut, and I have no more grown-up teeth. Do you think, first of all, by the way, I'm not telling my mob boss that this was one guy. I'm not telling my fiance this was one guy. I got jumped. You should have been there. Why weren't you there? There was hundreds of them. But anyway, this was one guy. I would have lied. But yeah, they'll be like, Batman's a myth. What are you talking about, dude? You think I did that to myself? So from Cindy's perspective, people like her shouldn't exist. She's stepping into a completely new and unfamiliar reality. And I wanted to portray that as well as how the world responds, how society responds to the unknown. Now, if you followed my Kickstarter for Fusion, you already know that there's a secret organization called GUARD that's been shaping the narrative for decades on individuals with the enhanced gene and really any supernatural being. Now that's leaning more towards, werewolves, vampires, witches. How they've done it exactly, I can't get into just yet, but I promise you we will find out, okay? But in my mind, it only made sense. The government would never tell you that this is. Think about. I'm surprised they tell us about shit in space. If we're being honest, I'm surprised we even have Area 51, and that we know about it. Y'all remember when people stormed Area 51? How did y'all find it? Is this something you can GPS? Google? Why does this place not have better security than our mall? You know what I mean? But I digress. But yeah, if you look out in the world right now, you see a watered down version of how people react to fear and uncertainty. When I say GUARD controlled the narrative, I mean completely. You know what I mean? There's no books romanticizing the supernatural. There's no movies of impossible powers like, Superman or Spider-Man. No Harry Potter. No Avengers. No comic books. Imagine not having this scene in cinema.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hi, me. First of all, anybody that gives you a chance to leave and they're clearly outnumbered, why are you so confident of your odds? Now, I know that they know he's Captain America, which y'all didn't bring enough people. Steve looked at 10 people in this fucking small space, and he said it's only right that, that I let him, at least get the chance to leave.
You're quite literally standing in front of him.
Why would you have the dude in front of Captain America be the first to attack? He had to turn his big ass around and unsheath his weapon. Cap saw that a mile away. If anything, those 2 motherfuckers in the back, they should have been shaking this motherfucker.
don't want to be that guy, but they're missing perfect opportunity. So you're able to get an attack on him, and it's not a knife. I don't even think we're trying to choke him. Hey, this is Captain America, and you came up in an open body stance, then got hit in the throat, and now you're talking like this.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want it to be known that he's absolutely dead. There's no way. An elbow strike to the top corner of the eye by a super soldier.
The next day, the motherfucker was dead.
You know what I would have done in this situation? Oh, I know he's pissed. I know he's like, who told y'all to go in there with no guns?
Are you insane? Oh my god, I don't know what you're doing.
We're all doomed. Thank you.
Oh my god. Look at where that uppercut is coming from. You are absolutely going to get your beat flipped.
Can't keep getting away with it.
But I digress. They should have, but they didn't. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. The only whispers of folklore, vampires, werewolves, witches, like I was saying earlier, they're passed down through families in certain parts of town, certain parts of different towns. But even then, I mean, the people in that town just think that Nana's losing it. I mean, witch trials, but the idea is that if you remove all traces of proof, the mind is going to reject whenever it appears. It's going to do the debunking for you. And we do that already. We boil things down to science, to AI, and realistically, science magic. It is. The stuff that we're able to make. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the rest. So when I got my powers, my first thought wasn't to be a superhero. That's Cindy in a nutshell. When you erase the idea of superheroes, you also erase the possibility that if someone did get powers, that they would immediately and know to start, to go fight crime. You know what I mean? I kind of looked at it more of like, what if my niece, got superpowers? She wasn't jumping over rooftops and fighting bad guys before. So I'm definitely not expecting her to do it now just because she has powers. You know what I mean? She still has no idea what she's supposed to be doing. I know that we're talking about comic books, but let's be honest. If you got powers right now, would you immediately start going around fighting crime, jumping on rooftops? I mean, because, you did that before. You got a lot of experience with that. No. And if you said yes, it's probably because you have seen superheroes before. So you already know the example of heroism that would be expected of you if you were, I don't know, let's say able to fly or lift a car. But if you never had a role model, if you never had an example of what you could be, who would you even become? Who would you even know to become? It's supposed to be fun. That is her truth. Cindy, she just wanted to test herself. She wasn't trying to start a superhero career. Unfortunately, trouble found her. Sledgehammer. I actually created him for a different character a long time ago. But here he's kind of my throwaway villain. Someone that I could use without risking one of my favorites if the story didn't land. And truth be told, Cindy was exactly that for me when I first started this. I had my starting 3 when I first started my comic universe, and I'll write about them in future issues, but this was my very first writing project, and I didn't start this wanting to write comic books. I'd rather do novels, books, scripts, but I just so happened to have a comic book universe, and I didn't want to basically gamble with someone else's character, someone else's idea, and then ruin it for them. You know what I mean? Might as well just use my own characters and gamble with that, because if it flopped, it's all right, because I didn't think about this character that much anyway. I didn't think much about Fusion besides her costume, her power. I know I had her bit by a snake when I first made her. I think when I first made her, I gave her a hammer because I was kind of looking at it almost like dang it, there's this Sonic character with like pink hair, and I think she has a hammer. And I'm pretty sure that was in my head whenever I was trying to think about this character, write about this character. But now I'm glad that I chose Fusion, because again, I didn't think much about her, so it allowed me to take the story anywhere I needed to take it. And now I'm in love with where her story took me. I'm in love with what it started for my universe. Her story birthed so many connecting ideas. And originally, I was writing her story to just kind of deal with her world. You know what I mean? And I wasn't thinking about any other comic book characters. But after seeing where her story took me, boom, bam, things are connecting, things are making sense. And now I have a whole, saga that I could write. And I truthfully know what I'm going to write about it. Yeah, and he's bald. There were going to be a lot of bald people in this story. At the time, I was drawing my own comic book, and guy hair is hard to draw. Hair in general is hard to draw, but male hair is definitely not my strong suit. So almost everyone in here was going to be bald. I'm pretty sure in issue 2 at Cindy's school, there's a student that's bald because I probably just got tired of drawing the hair and was like, you know what? This man just has bad genes. Okay. Into some surprising places. And because of that, I was able to give Sledgehammer a little bit more depth than I expected. So we will see him later on in the series. And that is page 3 breakdown for Fusion. I'll be trying to drop these every week. Keyword trying. Video editing is hard. It probably already took me a week to edit this video. Hopefully I can get it down faster. Hopefully repetition. It gets better. The videos will get better. And obviously, here's a sneak peek to the very first panel of issue 4. I just spit all over there. It's fine. It's my table. Follow, share, get your algorithm right so that you don't have to play catch up. If you do have to play catch up, issue page 1 and 2 breakdowns are already on my YouTube Kontact Comics. Go ahead, check them out. Get up to date, because when page 4 starts, when it starts like this, you're going to want to know what happened beforehand, okay? I appreciate your guys' support if you watched through this entire video.
Thank you very much. Thank you.